The following is an exclusive presentation of WI Garden Media, the voice of Garden Talk Radio.
Coming up on the program today, we're going to discuss watering in your garden and how to do it correctly for the best success, as well as pickling, understanding the art of doing that. Our guest is Phollyom Bioproducts co-founder John Libbs, and we'll answer your garden questions. The hour is full, so join us.
You are listening to the most informationally packed hour of garden-focused radio in the country and on the internet with your host, husband and wife team Joey and Holly Baird. This is the Gardening with Joey and Holly radio show.
And welcome to the Gardening with Joey and Holly radio show. Happy you've taken time out of your day to join us on the program. I am your host, Joey Baird. Beside me is my wife, co-host, best friend, and gardening partner,
Holly Baird.
This program is for you, about you, to help your garden grow better, to maintain your landscape, grow healthier trees, make your grass look greener, as well as preserving what you grow. Thank you for tuning in, whether you're listening to us on one of the 20 AM and FM frequencies, broadcasting our program here in 2023 through a radio app, through our parent website, which contains many hundreds of videos, which is the WisconsinVegetableGardener.com. Underneath the radio tab at the top of the page, in-studio video replay or podcast. Thank you. Also, that parent website, the WisconsinVegetableGardener.com. Underneath the money tab at the top of the page offers you all the discount codes you hear throughout the program to save you money on the garden products to make your garden better. If you want to be part of the program, you can do that by sending us an email to gardentalkradio@gmail.com, gardentalkradio@gmail.com, or give us a call, toll free, coast to coast at 1-800-927-SHOW. That's 1-800-927-7469. Watering is more than just a splash and go, the soil's wet and I'm good and the plant's happy. There's much more to watering than that. We have several sponsors that offer assistance in that: Tree Diaper, Tree Hugger Sprinklers, as well as Dripworks.
Yep. And with that being said, that you can purchase things that do help you water, but also they don't just help you water, but they also can make your life a little bit more convenient, or make watering more convenient.
Dripworks has a timer system on it. Water as Tree Hugger you can hook a sprinkler or a timer up to that, and Tree Diaper will self-absorb and release as the soil needs it. So watering, Holly, you just don't go, let's say if you don't have those devices yet, it looks wet, dry, splash, splash, walk away. Okay, I watered for the day. That doesn't work because that doesn't get the soil beneath the surface moist.
Right, and if your plants are looking dry, then
they are dry.
They are dry, but you should have probably started consistently watering like last week.
If you're thirsty, you shouldn't wait 3 hours from now to drink.
Right, and so you want to start watering. You want to get yourself on a watering schedule as soon as the plants hit the ground.
But Holly, we've all done this.
Oh yeah,
this
absolutely.
is not just hey, we're telling you that you've done it wrong. We've all done this.
No, you plant your plants, and then it probably rains that next week, and then all of a sudden you're like, oh yeah, that's right, now it hasn't rained for 2 weeks and my plants are
I'll get it tomorrow sad. And then tomorrow becomes the next day. Yeah. And we've all done this.
I used to have a boss that would say, prepare to plant, fail to plan, or plan to fail, or something like that. I don't know, but
clearly didn't work for you.
Obviously not. No, it's fail to plan or plan to fail. And you can plan either a watering schedule, again, get an automated timer, or just get yourself in a habit. You don't even necessarily have to water. You have to water the day that you check your plants. But if you know that, okay, I'm going to make sure I water thoroughly on Wednesday, Friday, Sunday, whatever. And then as the summer goes on, if we have less rain, then you may have to increase that. But it's just getting yourself into the habit.
Containers are the most prevalent of drying out the quickest because they're elevated and they evaporate more rapidly. Also, the smaller the container, raised bed, container, whatever the device is, the less soil equals less moisture retention, means it's going to dry out quicker. So when you water anything, If you're on a drip system or a tree hugger or tree diaper or drip works, this does not necessarily apply because you're setting a regiment or a time frame in which it's going to water or it's watering on its own. If you're watering a container or you're watering with your watering can, watering means you thoroughly soak the ground. This may take 20 minutes in order to get your containers hydrated properly, or the raised bed properly hydrated, or the grow bag properly hydrated, or the ground, because you can dump 2.5 gallons in a watering can on the ground, take your finger and run it, and it's only the top quarter inch is moist. It takes a lot of moisture to wick down into the area where the seeds and the roots are at.
And the more dry your soil is, the longer it takes,
yes.
the more water it takes. And that's another reason we're not telling you to stay consistent in watering because we're annoying or something like that. It's because when your plants are properly watered on a regular basis, then you're actually going to end up using less water.
And they're healthier because they can fight off diseases. Mulch is a great, and we've said this many times, mulch is the way in which you water and put a mulch down. There's many different applications of mulch, from wood chips and perennial beds to straw to chemical-free, seed-free grass clippings to shredded paper and anything in between. Some people may choose to use a synthetic weed barrier. We don't advise that. We would advise go all natural on that. But pine needles, it holds the moisture in because it's repelling sunlight from evaporation.
Mulch is the way.
Mulch is the way. Now,
no, I agree.
Yeah, when is the right time to water? Well, if you're not watering first we want to avoid getting the leaves wet at any time. But if you are on a drip system or an underground or a ground level system and you're not sprinkling the leaves with water, because that can persist overnight and can cause mildew issues and cause a host of disease problems. Morning and evening is an excellent time to water when you're using a drip system or a soaker hose or one of these devices that sponsor the program. But your mileage, you do what's best for you. We're not telling you have to buy, but these are products that we personally use. That's why they're sponsors, and they work, and that's why we've got them as sponsors. Water in the evening is fine. However, now, here's a little secret that many of you may not be aware of. There are peak and off-peak hours of water consumption. Cities and municipalities jack the price up. I mean, it's public knowledge, but jack the price up. So during peak times, you pay more for water during, let's say, 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. But during certain times of the day, it's off-peak hours, which means you can use more water. There's better pressure. And in some municipalities, it is a lower cost per rate of X amount of gallons when you use it. So you want to call your municipality and figure out when those times are, because then you can do wash, you can do dishes, you can water your garden, you can do a lot of things to save money when using the systems that the city has set up, but taking advantage of their on and off peak hours of water usage.
Right. And it's probably something you could possibly find online too, but that's good knowledge.
Find online and then confirm with voice.
Right. And it's good knowledge to have because that can save you money.
Yeah. Basically. I don't think people are aware of the off-peak and on-peak in most situations.
No, I don't think most people are either.
And the same thing is with power too. So that's another story. But there's off-peak, on-peak for power too.
Oh, interesting.
But mulch is the key here. If we continue to keep mulch on the soil, whatever we're planting, it can keep the soil 3 to 5 degrees cooler than the ambient temperature. And by keeping it cooler and shaded, it's going to suppress weeds and hold that moisture in. So when you get the soil hydrated, it takes less water the next time to rehydrate it or get it moist again, because it's not turning into a dry powder bone of a soil.
Right. And and then the mulch will help protect that. And it's also a good weed suppressant because weeds will, as they come up, they're going to take water from your plants or from the soil, which takes away from your plants and also nutrients and all those things. Now,
I want to touch on the containers again. Just because you see water running out of the bottom of the container doesn't mean, we're done, we can move on to the next one. That takes time to absorb in. Containers are often extremely dry, and it takes several cycles of them of watering. And we've talked to Jessica Walliser, for example. She waters, comes back, waters again. waters 3 or 4 times, make cycles through all the plant, and at that point, then the containers are hydrated in full because she has diligently watered to the point where she knows. And then the best tool ever is your finger. Shove that down in the soil. If it's moist, finger length down, you're pretty good shape. If it's not moist, keep putting the water to it because the plants are not getting the water even though it's running out.
Absolutely. And you want to, you just want to make sure that the biggest thing is the consistent watering.
Yes.
The inconsistent watering is what weakens your plants and makes them susceptible to the diseases and the problems. Any sort of pest or disease is going to go for the weaker plant because it's an easy target. So that's why watering consistently is super important.
Well, also what's super important is what Walton's Inc. has, Walton's Incorporated has for all of us. And they have a coupon code.
Absolutely. So the coupon code, we'll just go with that first, is GROW50 to save 10% off your orders of $50 or more. But Walton's has everything you need for meat processing and also a lot of great cooking equipment and spices. So they have equipment for meat processing, seasoning, and supplies, things to make things like sausage, jerky, any other meat product your way to your high standards.
Or just to season those barbecue delicious cooking things on the grill.
Absolutely.
Whether you're vegetarian or vegan or
just make some
carnivore.
Delicious potato
right.
wedges.
Yes.
You know?
Yeah.
And they have their own line of meat grinders, mixers, sausage stuffers to help you go from animal to edible. They also have an online informative site to help you to work with a community to help you with meat processing inspiration or issues, and that's meatgistics.com, and Walton's is waltonsinc.com. And again, the code is GROW50 to save 10% off your orders of $50 or more.
When we come back, pickling, what is it? How do you do it? Is there benefits to it? We'll explain and answer all of those questions. You're tuned in to the Gardening with Joey and Holly radio show.
Got a question for Joey and Holly? Send it via email anytime to gardentalkradio@gmail.com.
Grip 6 produces American-made products with sleek designs and quality materials. Based and manufactured in Utah, they have high-quality and durable products to last a lifetime. They are built beyond tough. Their belts are minimalist and one-of-a-kind with no holes or flap hanging over. Designs and styles for men and women. Something for everyone. Versatile to mix and match fashionable buckles and belt webbing. Colorful or timeless designs to match your style. You know how bulky and uncomfortable a belt can be, but not a problem with the Grip 6 belt. Comfortable but durable, a belt that moves and works with you and your lifestyle. Perfect for all the bending, twisting, shifting, and moving during gardening, yard work, and all of your everyday life. It's almost like you're not wearing a belt at all. Designed and manufactured in-house for the best results and quality every time. When you purchase from Grip 6, you're supporting long life cycle products and American-made manufacturing. Check out their belts, wallets, and socks at grip6.com. Use code RADIO15 to save 15% off at grip6.com. Mantis tillers, the premium long-lasting gas-powered tillers, are the perfect solution for any garden. This Mantis machine is available with 2 or 4 cycle engines with a 19-inch or 16-inch tilling width. Your DIY companion in your garden and your lawn converts easily for edging, aerating, and more with optional attachments. Find details at mantis.com. A non-selective herbicide that is USDA certified? Yep, No More Weeds by Naturally Green Products. The same great company that brings you No More Bugs. No More Weeds kills weeds with no harsh chemicals and no glyphosate. No More Weeds is a commercial-grade vinegar base with a proprietary sticking agent. Great around pools, decks, patios, and more. Visit natgreenproducts.com. Free shipping on orders over $50 using code FREESHIP4ME. Make watering easy. DripWorks provides quality drip irrigation supplies and equipment to gardeners just like you for all your growing needs across the U.S. and Canada. Purchase online at dripworks.com. Do you know that overwatering and underwatering are the top causes of plant death? Tree Diaper solves both those problems by absorbing excess water and releasing it back when the soil dries. Use code GARDEN15 to save 15% on treediaper.com. Deer Defeat is an all-natural based animal repellent to keep deer and rabbits away from your valuable plants that is odorless after 30 minutes and dries clear. It creates a continuous, invisible shield to protect your plants. Works for 30 days through rain, snow, and freeze. Will not clog your sprayer. Apply to your property without environmental damage. You can spray directly onto your plants up to flowering, then apply around your plants to continue protection. No need to reapply. Money back guarantee. To purchase, go to deerdefeat.com and use coupon code RADIO to save 10% off your order. Aqua-mart.com has everything you need for eye-pleasing outdoor water features on your property. For over 25 years, we've been creating and field testing beautiful water features in order to provide you with the most reliable products and best value in the industry. From easy-to-install pond and water-filled kits to pumps, fish food, and more, you'll find everything you need to install and maintain a naturally balanced water feature in your yard. Make your backyard a true oasis and maintain it well. Visit aqua-mart.com to shop for all your needs. You put a lot of time and energy in your garden, but without a rescue Japanese beetle trap, you can kiss that hard work goodbye. Asparagus annihilated. Raspberries ravished. Green beans, forget about it. Get those little invasive pests out of your garden and send them where they belong inside a rescue Japanese beetle trap. Now with available refill lures, rescue Japanese beetle traps can be used for multiple seasons. They're made in the USA by the makers of the popular Rescue, Fly, and Yellow Jacket traps. Learn more at rescue.com. That's RESCUE.com.
The Gardening with Joy and Holly radio show is brought to you by the following: Happy Leaf LED, Root Maker, Jung Seeds, Tree Hugger Sprinklers, Verlo Mattresses, Farmer's Defense, Pomona Universal Pectin, Natural Green Products, Mantis Tillers. Find all sponsors at the WisconsinVegetableGardener.com and thank them for their support. Thank you for being part of the show today. You're tuned in to the Gardening with Joy and Holly radio show. Before we get in the world of pickling, first, a message from Farm Defense.
Farm and garden in the ultimate comfort. Farmer's Defense has lightweight and durable sleeves made to protect you against the elements while farming. Farmer's sleeves are unparalleled protection of arms and skin for any farmer, gardener, or outdoor worker.
Not just farmers, backyard gardeners can take great advantage of what they have to offer.
Absolutely. Say goodbye to irritated skin and sunburns in the garden. Their sleeves offer cooling comfort and protection against the elements outdoors, an alternative to thick clothing. Farmer's Defense is made out of wicking material with UBF protection factor of 50 plus to protect you from allergens and scratches. To find all of their great products and more, visit farmersdefense.com. All
right, pickling, Holly. You are a Wisconsin State Fair award-winning canner. For a couple of years, you did that. And that's where the show originates, Wisconsin, for those who are just tuning in and keeping track at home. Pickling. What is pickling?
Sure. So pickling is any type of food preservation that occurs when you add an acid to a fruit or vegetable for the purpose of food storage.
Is pickling different than fermentation? And if so, how are they different?
So pickling is typically where you're adding an acid like a vinegar or with some salt or some lemon juice.
Okay.
And then, so you're adding the acid. Fermentation, you're letting the acid occur naturally.
Okay. So, can you ferment and pickle the same items, just getting different results?
Yes. So like the biggest example here would probably be cucumbers. So cucumbers is one, root crops like beets,
Jerusalem
artichokes.
Yeah.
I think people have even fermented carrots, things like that. I know some people even ferment salsa. So
cabbage.
Yeah,
you get
cabbage.
sauerkraut.
So there's a lot of things that you can ferment, and then you can also pickle as well.
Okay. What tools does one need to pickle? And since we're kind of touched on the fermentation, are those tools similar if you're going to ferment? And which is easier, to ferment or pickle? Or there's a lot of tackling here of topic. Pickling. What tools is needed?
So for pickling, you would need typically some sort of mason jar situation. And then you need something to put the jars in if you're going to can them for shelf stability.
But you don't have to do that. Okay.
But if you want to do like refrigerator pickling, then you don't need a canner. And then you need different things like vinegar, sometimes sugar, salt, spices, that kind of like cooking mindset there. A ladle to ladle things into the jar, knives, most stuff that a well-stocked kitchen would have.
So when we're refrigerator pickling or water bath pickling, is the duration of time needed for the application to get to the pickle state the same, or is it different?
It depends. So
Okay.
a lot of fermented products take anywhere from 7 to 21 days, sometimes more. But
The pickling.
the fermentation.
The fermentation aspect of the pickling process. Okay.
But when you pickle things, once they are shelf stable, you put them in the refrigerator. The refrigerator pickles are ready a little bit quicker. Shelf stable ones, I usually recommend you wait 30 to 60 days before you enjoy them.
Now, the refrigerator pickled beets or carrots or cucumbers, whatever, there's a shorter shelf life, shorter time in which they're good compared to the shelf stable ones that you canned? Or is the same, like, is a 60 days like the maximum on the refrigerator pickles before they're no good and you got to toss them out, versus the shelf stable ones that can sit on the shelf for 9 months before you pop the lid and eat the pickles, whatever you're pickling?
Yeah, so the refrigerator pickles are usually good for, I think, like 60-ish days, just a couple weeks.
Much shorter than the shelf stable ones that you've water bath canned.
Yeah, those are meant to, especially because I think after a while they would get mushy, a lot of them, but they are meant to just be, kind of, I made these are my treat for the next however long.
Now, and we're not doctors, so we're not going to advise medical advice here. We're giving our advice. So if you're concerned, seek medical professional advice on what this process does for your body. But in your opinion, Holly, what are the benefits of pickled food? And do your own research again and ask your doctor if you're wanting a specific outcome. To your opinion, what is the benefit of a pickled processed food versus, let's say, a fermented food that you process?
I don't know if there's any exact.
Why would one choose to pickle outside of? Why would one choose to pickle beets or carrots or something?
Sure. So I think you're talking about fermentation.
Yes.
So pickling is a process, again, of adding the acid. So you're adding vinegar, salt, spices, etc. Fermentation is where it creates its own acid. And in those acids, lactic acids are beneficial probiotics a lot of times, and it's beneficial to your gut health. So that's what the benefit is to fermentation. And that's anything from making your own yogurt to pickling to fermenting, doing fermentation pickling.
Mm-hmm.
And then even making something like a kvass or a kombucha or kefir. Those are all the lactic acid fermentation process. So if maybe you started drinking kombucha because your friend drinks kombucha, it is a fermented beverage.
But kombucha is not a pickled.
No, it's not. It's not pickled, but it's in that realm.
So pickling and fermenting is under the same umbrella, but have two separate dimensions under that umbrella. Is that accurate? It's under the same umbrella, but there's two different offshoots of under that umbrella of what those are.
It's just a way of it's a fermentation type of thing, and it's a way it was originally done to preserve foods
for long because there was no refrigeration of any sort.
Right. So that acid that's in it that gets created is basically a way to make them more shelf stable and last longer. Now,
you've made sauerkraut, and that's a form of pickling, and you've done it, and it turned out relatively decent. Mm-hmm. I guess, would pickles be, or cucumbers turning into pickles, would that be the easiest form of pickling in
pickling or fermentation?
Whatever, for pickling.
Sure. Well, if you're making
because the lines, it's muddied when
you're kind of getting it muddied.
Okay.
I think the easiest thing to ferment is probably countertop cucumber pickles.
Okay.
Because it doesn't take long, and cucumbers get mushy the more heat you put to them. Yep. So if you make those countertop fermented pickles, then you will have crunchy cucumber pickles.
When you talk counter, we're not putting them in the fridge or
after you are.
After, okay.
But once you do that, it's after you do the fermentation process.
Okay. All right.
Yeah. So I think that there's a lot of great fermentation guides out there that you can follow. There's a lot of great information online. There's even like a fermentation for dummies book. There is a guy, I can't think of his name. It's like something Cats. He has a few different fermentation books, and he's like the godfather of fermentation.
Now, is that when you see on the jar, it's got that little thing where it's got an airlock? Is that different than pickling, fermentation, pickling? It airlocks and it bubbles and burps?
Oh, yeah, that's a fermentation jar top.
Okay.
Yeah, so it allows the some of the gases to escape.
And you would do that for the countertop process.
And sometimes you don't. Sometimes you can just put like a coffee filter on top.
Okay.
Just like we used to with our apple cider vinegar.
Right. And just let it naturally progress through the breakdown process of the pears to make pear cider vinegar. So fermentation, pickling, they're kind of the same. They're kind of different. But
his name is Sandor Katz.
Sandor Katz?
Yeah, Katz is Katz. And he's got Wild Fermentation. That's one of his like huge known books. And then he's been on like a bajillion radio shows, interviews, etc. He goes and does live talks and presentations. But yeah, if you ever want like a really good guide to fermentation, to wild fermentation, that's Sandor Katz. And even like sourdough bread is a way of fermentation. So there's a lot of ways to ferment things. And it can be beneficial again to your gut health, and that's something you want to research and look into on your own. But I do highly recommend fermenting if you want to do kind of like a passive pickling, and you want to kind of feel like you're doing something in the kitchen. Fermentation is fun.
But if you, with any of these procedures, there can be things that will or potentially can go wrong to ruin the batch or spoil the batch.
Yeah, mold.
And then
if you get mold in your jar of fermented countertop pickles, you don't want to eat those.
Right. And
you
also,
don't want to just scrape it off. You just don't want to eat
And
them.
also, isn't there some truth to if you have multiple jars going that you need to space them because sometimes it can interact with each other and cause one to go bad, or is that just a myth?
I think that's a myth. I think they would actually just feed off of each other and possibly ferment faster.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, there you go. If you've got any questions, it's kind of a subject that has many different layers to unravel on it, and we've tried to give you a taste of, no pun intended, of the fermentation pickling process in whichever way that you go. Well, if you want to control beetles and grub invaders without affecting the rest of your ecosystem, Holly, in your yard, then go to Grub Gone and Beetle Gone. They are the solution.
Yeah, Phylum's Grub Gone and Beetle Gone they target a wide range of invasive and destructive beetles, weevils, and borers without harming non-targets such as bees, ladybugs, butterflies, earthworms, or other beneficial insects. You can purchase these products locally in Massachusetts at Ward's Nursery, McHugh Garden Center, and Hyannis Country Garden. In Connecticut at Van Willigens Garden Center. In Maine at Salisbury Organics. And in New York at Fadigan's Nursery, and in Ohio at Berlin Seeds. If you go to PhylumBioproducts.com, you can find all the information. Phylum Bioproducts target the pests, not the rest. PHYLLOM Bioproducts.com.
Hang out with us. The co-founder of Phollyom Bioproducts will be with us discussing how to control bugs and beetles on your property. You're tuned in to the Gardening with Joey and Holly radio show.
Have a garden question? Give Joey and Holly a call now or anytime 24/7. Just dial 1-800-927-SHOW. If you can't get through, leave a message and they will call you back. Call now 1-800-927-SHOW.
Jung Seed Company is a family-owned and operated gardening company since 1907 with the largest selection of seeds and plants online. Use coupon code 10TG23 to receive 10% off your order at jungseeds.com. Again, that coupon code is 10TG23.
Listen, at Furlough Mattress, saving a lot on a comfortable mattress with a lifetime comfort guarantee is easy. Why? Well, because we make our mattresses right at the store. Yeah, we cut out the middleman, and voila, you got it. We pass the savings directly on to you every day. So hurry in today to your local Furlough, where there are no middleman markups. wake up, sleep better, and save at Furlow.
Hi, I'm Russell Taylor with Live Earth Products. I'm a soil health expert here to help you. Live Earth Products specializes in soil conditioners and fertilizers that will help you build healthy and vibrant flower and vegetable gardens. As our name describes, Live Earth means healthy soils. Live Earth Products are humic and fulvic soil amendments and are all natural, organic, and directly from our family mine in Utah. Live Earth products are easy to apply, and the results will blossom right before your eyes. Live Earth products can be applied throughout the growing season. So pick up Live Earth Humate Soil Conditioner, our Liquid 6 Humic Acid, at your local garden center or on Amazon. Also available through our website, liveearth.com. That's liveearth.com. Live Earth, here to bring vitality to life in your garden.
Fleet Farm's Garden Center is now open. Stop in to check out their selection of nursery quality plants available at low prices. All of their plants are grown in the Midwest, and their vegetables are insecticide free. Choose from annuals, perennials, shrubs, trees, and more. Plus, take care of your lawn with grass seed fertilizers, lawnmowers, and string trimmers. Get everything you need to keep your yard looking great at Fleet Farm, your lawn and garden headquarters. Dig planting holes from a comfortable standing position. Step, twist, pull, and plant. Visit ProPlugger.com.
Dripping Springs Oyas clay pot irrigation solves the watering needs for gardens, bushes, new trees, and more. An ancient irrigation system we brought to America. Dripping Springs Oyas, OLLAS, on YouTube, Facebook, Instagram. Check us out.
Rootmaker starts your plants off right and keeps them going through harvest. From their seed starting trays with an innovative design that air prunes the roots to their large variety of grow bags, 1 to 60 gallons. Their products will provide you the harvest you've never seen before. Visit rootmaker.com and use coupon code RADIO23 to save 15% off your order at rootmaker.com.
Garden like a pro in 3 easy steps and receive customized fertilizer recommendations for your garden or lawn. Soil Savvy helps you determine what nutrients your plants need to thrive. Never again over-apply nutrients they don't need. A patented process that makes you a smart gardener. To get your soil test kit, go to mysoilsavvy.com.
The Gardening with Joy and Holly radio show is brought to you by the following: Dripworks, Rise Gardens, Grip 6, Bloomin' Easy, Fleet Farm, Waltons Incorporated, Blue Ribbon Organics, Tree Diaper. Find all sponsors at the WisconsinVegetableGardener.com and thank them for their support. Welcome back to the Gardening with Joy and Holly radio show. Moments away, John Libbs, co-founder of Phollyom Bioproducts. But first, Rise Gardens, Holly, a product that can help you grow year-round.
Rise Gardens is a revolutionary hydroponic gardening system for your home. Instead of food traveling hundreds or even over 1,000 miles before it hits your plate, harvest the veggies, herbs, and greens you need for dinner tonight in the comfort of your home. No green thumb required knowledge. Gardening made easy with the Rise Gardens app. Step-by-step guidance from seed to harvest. A complete garden on a shelf and comes with everything you need to grow healthy and the freshest food for you and your loved ones. Fully customize your garden to your needs and preferences. For more information to get your Rise Gardens, visit risegardens.com.
Holly, let's go to the hotline and bring in our guest for this week.
John Libbs is the CEO and co-founder of Phollyom Bioproducts and has a background in biological science. Welcome to the program, John.
Hi there. Hi, Joey, Holly. How you doing today?
We are doing well, and just for full transparency, Phollyom Bioproducts is a sponsor of the Gardening with Joy and Holly radio show, so I want everybody to know that up front.
So let's get started. What inspired you to start a biotechnology company that targets harmful crop and garden pests?
Well, it's going to be a little geeky to start here because I'm going to talk a little science. So it was really science, timing, and market need. And with the science, to discover and develop these types of non-chemical insecticides that we sell, it's actually a mixture of genetics, biochemistry, micromolecular biology, and protein chemistry. So at a basic scientific level, it's actually very interesting work. So that was one inspiration. And at the time I first entered the biotech field, which is, I'm getting pretty long in the tooth here now. This goes back to the late 80s, early 90s. The industry was really in its infancy. And about that time, the mid-late 80s, a lot of important advances were being made in the biotechnology field as far as the tools go. And this included protein chemistry. And proteins are a very important part of our products. Proteins are actually the active ingredients of our non-chemical products. So the active ingredients aren't chemicals made in the lab. They're actually proteins in biological systems. And so, most people have heard that the DNA in a biological system is, let's say, the blueprint or the code of life. Well, the proteins are really what make biological systems go. They're the type of molecules that make biological systems work. They help carry out and drive functions in organisms. And some of the earliest discoveries of protein structures, meaning their shapes and actual three-dimensional structure, were made in the ag biotech industry in the late 80s, early 90s. And specifically, they were made by collaborative groups. I worked on some of these projects in the Bay Area with UCSF and other research labs at universities. We figured out the structures of some of these proteins that are the active ingredients for these non-chemical biological products based on BTs. So it was very interesting work. Kind of the timing was such that it was kind of sexy science at the time, but it was very interesting. And then, we looked at the market over the years. We knew these types of products, non-chemical products based on the microbe or the bacterium type of Bacillus thuringiensis. We knew they had done very well in the ag markets to control caterpillars. They're really the number one type of product or underlying technology used worldwide in agriculture as a non-chemical insecticide. We looked at the market, and now I'm going forward, let's say, from the early 90s to the early 2000s. We looked at the market at that time, and there weren't really any good, high-performing non-chemical products to control beetles. So we took what we knew about these types of products and said, hey, we should try to discover some BT type microbes that could control beetles really well. And so that's when we set out on a discovery program to do that.
Well, why are beetles, grubs, borers so hard to target specifically? What about them is the issue?
Yeah, it's really about the technology and the will to find what we would call a lead compound or a lead biological active, which would control a particular pest. So when you set out to discover, let's say, a non-chemical insecticide, what you do is you go collect samples out in the wild, soil samples out of dead insects, all over the place, and you bring them into the lab, and then you start screening those against maybe a particular pest that you see out in the market that may be a very important commercial pest. Maybe it's an ag pest like Japanese beetle. That's a really tough pest and not a lot of, let's say, natural predators against, as in the U.S. And so you start testing all these samples you've collected out there in nature against the actual pests in the lab. So you can imagine it's a very laborious process. It's a lot of, screening a lot of samples. It's a lot of luck to find the right level of performance, and really the biological side is really where the targeted products. And so the biological non-chemical pesticides, you really focus on one insect, and then you try to expand the performance or understanding whether it controls other insects and increase its spectrum of activity over time so it has more commercial relevance out in the market. Whereas when you're developing chemical insecticides, it's almost the flip of non-chemical, where you develop a new chemical compound And you pretty much can assume if it's a chemical compound, it's actually going to be toxic to almost all insects. And then you're hoping through testing toxicity against different organisms, whether it's fish, birds, mammals, or non-target insects, like let's say bees or butterflies, pollinators, you're hoping you don't see a high level of toxicity, or if you see toxicity, it's at a very high level of the active ingredient, so high that it's unlikely that a non-target, whether it's a mammal, a person, or a pollinator, would come in contact with that level of chemical in the environment, in the market. So it's really a flip of discovery of biologicals. And so, what it comes down to, it's just really difficult, really time consuming and very capital intensive to find a targeted control, whether it's taking a lot of risk on the front end, as you would on discovering a biological or non-chemical lead active, where you're doing a lot of screening, spending a lot of money at the front end through all this work, trying to screen all these samples down to a couple of good leads to carry through development, or whether it's a chemical and you have a bunch of different leads at the beginning and you're whittling those down on tox studies, and you're hoping by the time you get into regulatory that the tox profile is not that, let's say, deleterious to non-target organisms. And, just to kind of put some perspective in the cost of embarking on developing or discovering and then developing lead actives for a non-chemical or biological active, it usually takes $25 to $100 million to go from the discovery, where you find some good lead actives to carry through development, all the way to market. And then for the chemical side, to really develop new chemical actives and work your way through regulatory from start to finish is about a $300 to $500 million endeavor. So it's very capital intensive, and there's a lot of risk involved.
Fantastic. So we are talking with John Libbs, the CEO and co-founder of Phollyom Bioproducts. Can you tell us more about Phollyom Bioproducts and what makes them unique?
Yeah, sure. So I would say that our products are really the best combination of performance and safety in the market. We say that our products are natural. They're developed from a natural soil bacterium. They are effective, meaning they're high performing. They actually perform at the level of many of the chemical competitors. For instance, if we're focusing on grub gone, our granular product, they spread on turf, irrigated in to control turf grubs. It performs nearly at the level of the imidacloprid products. It actually performs better than the acelepryn-based products from mid-season later. So these products, they're natural, but they're very powerful natural products, but they're also very targeted. As you mentioned earlier, that they only perform, or they only have toxicity to certain beetles, and also some weevils that are also beetles, and borers, those are common names, that are also beetles. So that they're natural, effective, and targeted. We've done lots of research, and over time we continue to improve the production side of our products. And with biologicals, we kind of say there's RFI, there's always room for improvement. And so that's another distinguishing factor from the chemical side. With biological products, it is a biological process often when you're producing them. And so there's a lot of room to improve that process. And we've been really diligent over time, the last 10 years, to continually look at our production process and improve it. We're out there constantly testing our products, not only against the target pests that we sell the products to control currently, but we're out there trying to increase the spectrum of activity, look for other commercially relevant pests that are important to control. And so we're always doing a lot of research and development, real commercial development, even though these products have always been have been on the market for a good, 7-8 seasons now, especially Pro Side Channel Northeast. And we continue to make improvements in the products over time.
Many people are concerned about the efficacy of non-chemical solutions. Should they be concerned, or is this a thing that we should have been doing many years ago?
It's devil's in the detail with all these products, right? So even the chemicals differ a bit on the efficacy. It's tough. For the non-chemical controls, I'll throw some different technologies out. So Milky Spore is a very popular turf grub control. So the pro side, the upside to it is it's a safe product. The downside is what we call the spectrum of activity. The breadth of different types of insects it controls is extremely narrow. So it actually, out of all those scarab beetles, and there's a whole host of them across the country in turf that are problems, probably 12 or 13 different scarab beetles. It only controls one specific species, Japanese beetle, and it only controls the larvae, really young larvae. It doesn't control late in the season. And you also have to, even if you read their label and marketing material, the folks that sell it, you have to put it down 2 to 3 times per year over multiple seasons to get any sort of performance out of it. So that's kind of a tough deal. Shelf life's good, so that's an upside. Then there's nematodes out there and fungal products like Bavaria bassiana, which tend not to have very good shelf life, and they're very particular in how you apply them, and you have to make sure the nematodes you irrigate it in right away. And the level of control is not that high. When I say not that high, maybe at best you're killing 40%, 4 out of 10 grubs, as comparison to our products, our Grub Gone or Beetle Gone, you're going to be killing 8 to 9 out of 10. Midacloprid products, you'll kill 9.5 out of 10 consistently. Acelepryn-based products, they're close to ours in early season, but really drop off late season. So they go from about 8 to 10 down to 5 to 10. Then you have, non-chemicals, getting back to those. You have soaps and oils. And those are just kind of a physical contact. So they're not really a true insecticide. What they tend to do is gum up the mouth parts of the insect. So they will work. The problem with those is they're very non-discretionary as far as, their ability to kill insects, right? So if a bee comes in contact with them or other beneficials, and the soaps and oils will do the same thing to the bees as they do to the other bugs you're trying to get rid of in your garden.
Fantastic. Well, we've really enjoyed having you on the program to talk about all this great information. How can people find out more?
Yeah, sure. A lot of questions I get are, will your products work against this insect? And there's always a lot of new insects coming into the U.S. And I first go to Wikipedia. It's a good source of information for insects. And first thing with, if you're thinking about using a biological or non-chemical, you want to ID the insect. Again, our products are very good at controlling beetles and some weevils and borers that are also beetles, like emerald ash borer, or different weevils like alfalfa weevil. So ID the insect. For homeowners and landscapers, Green Earth Ag and Turf is one of our Northeast distributors. Joe Magazi, the owner, he has a website up that talks a whole lot about all types of non-chemical products, including ours. He's a great source. He's very knowledgeable in non-chemical products. For Pro Channel, sports turf managers, municipality landscapers, we work through a number of distributors as well. And I could say Tom Irwin Inc. up in the Northeast. All the sales or customer reps are horticulturalists, so they understand products very well. Our website, PhylomBioproducts.com, has some information, some data there. I'd also say look at some of the state websites like Maine.gov. We didn't get the chance to talk about IPM, Integrated Pest Management, but maybe you could have me back sometime in the future. We'll get deep on that. But some of these state websites have some very good information. Of course, universities and land-grant universities usually have quite a bit of information on insecticides and various alternatives, especially local through each university, which probably be helpful for people.
Well, John, we greatly appreciate the information, the sponsorship, and what you're doing to help gardens and landscapes be healthier and getting these bad bugs out of our property.
Hey, you bet. Hey, it was a pleasure being on the show, and look forward to talking with you again.
Absolutely. And when we come back, it's Your Garden Questions, Our Garden Answers. You're tuned in to the Garden with Joey and Holly radio show.
Got a question for Joey and Holly? Send it via email anytime to gardentalkradio@gmail.com.
Jung Seed Company is a family-owned and operated gardening company since 1907 with the largest selection of seeds and plants online. Use coupon code 10TG23 to receive 10% off your order at jungseeds.com. Again, that coupon code is 10TG23.
Wind River Chimes creates a symphony in any space. Chimes that are inspired by nature and designed to make the natural world even more inspiring. Music speaks to everyone. Individually handcrafted in Virginia for over 35 years and hand-tuned for an exceptional precision and lasting beauty. Because in life, the winds of change are always moving. But no matter where they carry you, Wind River Chimes will always be the inspiring harmony. With a large selection and customization options, you will find the sound that soothes you. Visit windriverchimes.com to shop and find out more.
Tree Hugger sprinklers are the ultimate watering device for either your newly planted or established trees and shrubs. Our sprinklers open and close around the trunk of your tree and provide 360 degrees of watering. With our adjustable valve, you can direct the water to your tree's targeted saturation zone. They come in 3 sizes, 7, 11, and 15 inches. You can purchase a Tree Hugger sprinkler at your local garden center, feed store, or hardware store. Go to treehuggersprinklers.com to find a retailer close to you. Or you can buy it directly from Amazon or treehuggersprinklers.com. If you're an independent nursery, garden center, hardware store, or feed store, you will want to stock this product. Contact the good people at Tree Hugger Sprinklers and they will get you set up. Your tree's best friend. treehuggersprinklers.com. Blue Ribbon Organics, providing locally made organic compost and soil blends for gardeners, farms, landscaping, and more. To find our products nearest you, visit blueribbonorganics.com. Chapin has the tools for planting your garden and keeping it growing all season long. Whether your garden is big or small, Chapin has sprayers and spreaders for fertilizing, weed, and pest control, watering, and seeding. You can find Chapin products at your local hardware store, big box retailer. You may visit them also online at chapinmfg.com to learn more and buy online. We know that you appreciate the value of a beautifully landscaped yard, but tackling such a project yourself can seem way too complicated, right? Bloomin' Easy Plants are the answer. Their plants are low maintenance and offer exceptional beauty and color for your yard. Plus, they offer free seasonal care reminders with simple how-to videos tailored to the plants that you choose. With Bloomin' Easy on your side, creating the yard that you've always wanted becomes as easy as plant, water, and relax. Check them out at your local garden center or by visiting bloomineasyplants.com. The Gardening with Joy and Holly radio show is brought to you by the following: Chapin Manufacturing Incorporated, Aqua-Mart, Soil Savvy, Wind River Chimes, Wisconsin Greenhouse Company, Pro Plugger, Deer Defeat, Dripping Springs Oyas, Phollyom Bioproducts. Find all sponsors at the WisconsinVegetableGardener.com and thank them for their support. Welcome back to the Gardening with Joe and Holly radio show. Happy you're with us today. Question and answer time. You got a question? Send it on over. We've got an answer for you. 1-800-927-SHOW. That's 1-800-927-7469. Or gardentalkradio@gmail.com. This question here, Holly, is sponsored by Fleet Farm and fleetfarm.com.
Is it safe to use black walnut chips on the walk paths between my raised beds? My raised beds aren't like most beds. I have put them on a slight slope. The bottom of one side of the bed is dug into the soil. The other side is a little below the soil level. I'm using the wood chips as a weed barrier and moisture retainer.
Mulch or wood chips from black walnuts are not recommended for plants sensitive to Julong, Juglone. It's a chemical the plants or the tree puts out as a defense mechanism to keep plants from invading in on its territory. However, composting the wood chips for a minimum of 6 months allows that chemical to break down to a safe level, even for plants that are sensitive to that chemical. So if the wood chips have been there for more than 6 months, like you're going to get them and use them, you should be okay. Shouldn't have a problem. If you have a black walnut that has been chipped up, or you're using or has been planted, you're planting where a tree used to be, you could have problems because that chemical that tree puts out still persists in the soil and can for a number of years.
Is there a correct size to have for harvesting green beans?
No, there's not. It's at the point in which you are comfortable harvesting them. The bigger the bean pod, the bigger the seed inside of it will be, the tougher it's going to be to consume. Now, you can get them at any size, very tiny or medium size, whatever the case is, but you got to be able to chew them up. As they get larger, the seed gets larger and more mature, they're going to get more woody and tough. And at that stage, there can be a point of the plant determining that they have matured, the plant has matured the internal seed to the point where it will reproduce at the appropriate time after it falls off the plant and goes in the ground. And the plant basically shuts down because the reproductive state or purpose of the plant, that's what it's doing. It's not growing green beans for you. So harvest them. I would recommend harvesting them at a medium-sized state. Regularly harvest them so they can continue to produce, because if you don't harvest them, they're going to put all their pods on and then shut down. So there you go. I know my pumpkins are going to outgrow my garden bed and grow in the yard. Should I lay down cardboard over the grass, or is it okay for them to grow on the grass?
Well, this is up to you. It's okay to let them grow on the grass. That's not a problem. But if you do want to mow or trim around them because you don't want your grass to grow tall, then that could be challenging.
But they do put, as the plants grow out, the pumpkins, they do put roots down in their vines.
Right. So they do. I was
pull
just
nutrients.
Say they do put roots down. So one thing you could do is you could try to, once they kind of establish, you could put cardboard around, and then that would smother out the grass that you don't want to trim or have grow there. Otherwise, it's fine just to let them go as is, and then you could just carefully
weed eat the top of the grass so it doesn't go to seed, and let it be.
Right, just kind of trim it as it needs to be.
Yeah, let it. I think that's the way to go. All right, I planted cucumbers 2 weeks ago, and they do not look happy. I gave them fertilizer at the time of planting and kept them water. What are your thoughts?
It's possible that they are too cold. Cucumbers are warm weather plants, so if you planted them early, it could happen that they just aren't doing too well with the varying temperatures of the late spring. Keeping them watered and fertilized is important. What do you think? Yeah,
the cucumbers at root zone, which is about an inch and a half below surface, likes the soil temperature to be a consistent 65 degrees Fahrenheit. And if it's not that, it's not going to be happy. And if you plant them too early, they're going to be stunted or have difficulty getting to a mature state. And it's just better to wait until that soil is at the right temperature and direct sow them. You don't need to transplant them. Don't start them indoors 2 weeks before your last average frost date. The process of planting a transplant and a seed and 4 weeks are the same size anyway. So save the transplanting, save the seeds indoors, just direct sow them at the appropriate time, and you will have good cucumbers. And cucumbers are not a long
No,
growing
they're only going to grow
crop.
for a few months. They're not the type of...
You're not going to get cucumbers the week before Thanksgiving in most areas of the country.
They just kind of do their thing. They grow, then you harvest, and you harvest a little bit more, and then all of a sudden they're like, "Whoa, I'm done."
You can plant
and that's
You can plant your cucumbers at the appropriate time. Wait about 3 weeks, plant another batch, and try to extend
you could do that,
succession, plant them a little bit. I mean, it's based on your long range forecast of in the fall. Well, with that being said, we are out of time, and we thank you for yours. Missed any portion of the program today or would like to revisit it, you can certainly do that by going to your favorite podcast platform and searching the Gardening with Joy and Holly radio show or our parent website, the WisconsinVegetableGardener.com. Send us an email, gardentalkradio@gmail.com, and we will send you a link to the program. Tune in next week to the program where we'll be discussing water features for your yard or your property. And our guest is Christy Purify will be with us, and we'll answer more of your garden questions. So until next week, for
Holly Baird,
I'm Joy Baird, and we will see you in the garden.